Imagine the darkest and most enigmatic mysteries that the most famous book of all time could hide. Get ready, because what you are about to see will challenge everything you think you know about the Bible. Welcome to the Enigma of Grace. Today, we will explore the 7 most disturbing mysteries that have marked the history of the Holy Scriptures. Take a deep breath, because each revelation will be more surprising than the last. Did you know that the greatest playwright of all time may have left his mark on the Bible? William Shakespeare, known for his brilliant and emotionally charged works, had a special fascination with the Book of Psalms. But here's the mystery. The English translation of the King James Bible was completed when Shakespeare was exactly 46 years old. Coincidence? Maybe. However, if you open Psalm 46 and count 46 words from the beginning, you will find the word shake. Now, count back 46 words from the end and you will find spear. Yes, Shakespeare's name seems to be encoded in that particular psalm. Many believe that this was a subtle tribute to the playwright, possibly by one of the translators of the time who wanted to pay homage to him. True or not, this enigma connects Shakespeare's genius with the depth of Scripture in a way no one could have imagined. Even more intriguing, this theory is not universally accepted. While some believe it proves a spiritual connection between Shakespeare's genius and the Scriptures, others dismiss it as a mere coincidence. But regardless of your belief, the mystery continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts to this day. Sodom and Gomorrah. 2 cities that became synonymous with sin and destruction. The biblical narrative speaks of immorality so extreme that it led God to destroy these cities with a rain of fire and brimstone. But is this story based on reality? Archaeologists have discovered evidence that suggests something catastrophic really did happen in the region. According to scientists, a meteor exploded close to the ground, generating energy 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. The temperature instantly rose, burning everything in the area. Swords melted, clothes caught fire, and the entire city was obliterated in seconds. Lot and his family survived the cataclysm by fleeing to the mountains. However, Lot's ironic fate reveals the dark side of humanity. In his new home, he was drunk and abused by his own daughters. An outcome that makes us reflect on the limits of human morality. And we cannot ignore the theological debates that surround this story. For believers, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is a clear sign of divine judgment, while for skeptics, it is a religious interpretation of catastrophic natural events. But in both cases, the lesson is that moral choices have profound consequences. Other less discussed aspects of this narrative involve the geographic location of cities and their historical relevance. The fertile lands that once surrounded Sodom and Gomorrah turned into desolation. An eternal reminder of the fine line between prosperity and ruin. Who has never heard of the horsemen of the apocalypse? War, famine, plague and death. These horsemen represent impending doom, but does the story end there? A closer look at the book of Revelation reveals a 5th horseman, Hades. He is described as the one who follows death, bringing hell upon the earth. The sequence is terrifying. The Antichrist arrives riding the white horse, followed by war on the red horse, then by famine on the black horse, and finally by death on the pale horse. But Hades, which many ignore, is the one that carries the souls of the dead, sealing the fate of humanity. A desolate image that makes us question what is really to come. What's more, the horsemen are not just symbolic figures of destruction, but a reminder of what can happen when evil prevails. His vivid descriptions in Revelation continue to influence popular culture, from films to games and even works of art. Each night brings a profound message about the consequences of human actions and the cycles of destruction. This view of the horsemen also raises questions about human resilience. Are we prepared to face the adversities they represent? Or are we, as humanity, complicit in our own apocalyptic fate? Furthermore, the identity of the rider on the white horse is widely debated. For some, he represents Christ himself. For others, he is the Antichrist in disguise. This ambiguity only increases the fascination with these characters who seem to transcend time. The end of times is a recurring theme in the Bible. From the sermons of Jesus to the visions of the prophet Daniel, Scripture warns of wars, earthquakes, plagues, and famines. In his prophetic sermon, Jesus described a time of unprecedented tribulation. He warned that nations would rise against nations, and love between people would grow cold. These signs are not just warnings to humanity, but invitations to reflection and change. The Bible not only predicts calamities, but it also offers hope to those who remain faithful. It is a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is a greater purpose behind it all. The prophet Daniel, in turn, spoke of a king from the north who would attack Israel, bringing anguish never before seen. Today, we see conflicts in the Middle East that lead many to believe that these prophecies are coming true. The idea of a third world war seems closer than ever, and the Bible may be warning us about the inevitable. These prophecies, however, also challenge us to look to the future with a sense of responsibility. Are the catastrophic events predicted inevitable, or are they a reflection of our own actions and choices? Furthermore, Jesus' prophetic sermon is not only a warning but also a promise. He states that those who remain steadfast to the end will be saved. A call to faith and perseverance even in the most difficult times. Forget the images of demons torturing souls in eternal flames. The popular concept of hell is not in the Bible. In the original text, the words Sheol and Hades are used to describe the collective grave of humanity, where both good and evil rest after death. But why has the modern concept of hell as a place of eternal torture become so widespread? Much of this comes from works like Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy, which popularized the idea of eternal punishment. The Bible, however, presents a different view. The lake of fire, mentioned in Revelation, is described as a place of final destruction, where the wicked will cease to exist completely. This understanding leads us to reconsider what divine punishment really means. And this interpretation leads us to even deeper reflections. Is the concept of divine justice more related to annihilation or restoration? How should humanity understand the final destiny of souls? Furthermore, the image of the lake of fire raises questions about collective responsibility. Who will be thrown into it? Is it a matter of individual choices or systemic influences? Military siege was a brutal tactic in ancient times. Enemy troops would surround cities, cutting off supplies until the inhabitants succumbed to starvation and disease. In the Bible, there are prophecies that warned the Israelites about what would happen if they turned away from God. They would be besieged and forced to eat their own children to survive. The book of Deuteronomy records such warnings, and historical accounts confirm that this type of cannibalism occurred during prolonged sieges. One of the most shocking stories involves mothers who made pacts to alternately consume their children. The brutality of these events reminds us of the devastating cost of war and disobedience. These stories challenge us to confront the fragility of the human condition and the consequences of dehumanization during times of crisis. It is a grim reminder of the depths to which humanity can sink when faced with hunger and despair. And what do these narratives tell us about ethical limits in extreme situations? How far can we go to ensure our survival? Finally, we come to the most disturbing mystery, the beast of the apocalypse. Described as a creature with 7 heads and 10 horns, it carries the number 666, the symbol of the Antichrist. This figure is accompanied by a second beast, the false prophet, who leads people to worship the first. Scholars believe these beasts represent oppressive powers and corrupt governments throughout history. However, the number 666 remains an object of speculation and fascination. He has inspired films, books, and conspiracy theories for centuries. Perhaps most disturbing is the idea that the beast's true identity has yet to be revealed, leaving us with the feeling that the worst is yet to come. What if the beast is not just a distant or symbolic entity, but something that is already among us, growing imperceptibly? This possibility makes the mystery even more fascinating and terrifying. But most of all, what does this enigma represent about the future of humanity? Are we prepared to recognize and face the true nature of evil when it manifests itself? And finally, the most provocative question: is the apocalypse a manual for destruction or an invitation to redemption? These mysteries reveal the deep and symbolic side of the Bible, challenging both believers and skeptics to reflect on the enigmas of faith and history. If you are intrigued by these revelations, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Enigma de Graca channel. There is much more to discover, and a special video is waiting for you right now. Until next time.